Welcome to part whatever this is, the next part. Right, okay, in this part here, what we're going to do is ascertain exactly where to cut this larger tube. Now, I've got the auger pipe cut to the correct length, and we've got this pot, which has also got, if you notice, inside there, this is the heating element that's going to ignite the pellets. You can see that sticking out a tiny bit. Right, so we stick this pot in here, and remember we made the hole slightly larger, so we just push it this way a little bit. Right, so what we want is this to line up exactly with the entrance of the heating element. So just eye it up nicely, get your pen and mark a line on your stainless tube. Mark a line on your stainless tube. That's much clearer if I don't have something shoved in my mouth. Right, okay, now when we cut this, we've got to take into account we're going to have an end plate. Now, if you notice, I've got two end plates here, both with holes in. The reason for that is one plate we're going to weld on here and one plate we're going to weld on here, and they've both got round holes. Now, before I weld that end plate on here, I'm going to put both of these plates together like that, just give them a quick tack weld, and we're going to drill the fixing holes, then enlarge the one plate and then enlarge the hole in one plate and then tap the other side. So that will give us the squish mounting onto here. However, we've got to make sure that we cut this in the right place. So what we do is we go like, put two of these on, right, and I've got a spare one which I made earlier, which you don't need, and you put that on there, okay, and put that at an angle so it actually holds it if your hole isn't exact. Make sure that's pushed back and then slowly slide this pipe up to exactly where it should be. So we know that is perfect there. Okay, so we've got these two plates here, and what we want to do is put this on here against our hole in the pipe, and we know where we're going to fix it, weld it or what have you, and then we're going to lift this end up a fraction, push these two against it, then let that go again, then let go of that, and we're not going to mark directly on the metal beneath because these might not be completely upright. So we make a line on the pipe, we put this back on, and it's going to slide around a bit. So, right, okay, so we know that is basically about right. So, we take this bit off, take these two off, we put this, make sure that's back. We've got our previously marked line here. So we look at that previously marked line, line that up onto there, make sure that's lined up down there, and we've got our line here, which with very careful, precise measurement, you go there. That will do. And you go, no, that's not quite right. So you do another one, and you make it a bit longer so you can tell them apart. And you go, right, okay, that would do nicely. So then you get your extremely well-made Chinese set square, which is a whole load of rubbish. And what you do is you think about the thickness of the pen, and you think, right, okay, I'm going to be cutting directly down the middle of this pen. You've got to allow for the thickness of the blade that you're cutting with. So we put this on here, this right angle thingamajig, and we go up to that line we drew, and we draw just this side of it. Okay, so we've got a nice line there, and then just to make sure that you know exactly which line you're going to, you put an arrow there on the bit you're keeping. Okay, you want to clean up all the sides, cut that, and then I'll meet you in a minute. Right, okay, just before I cut this, I want to mention a couple of things which could be very important to you. Now, as we know, the fan blows into this tube and blows the air out of this cup to flame the pellets. Now, if you imagine, right, our cut line is here. So I'll just put this piece of metal there so you can see our cut line. Okay, that's our cut line. Now we're going to mount the fan underneath, right, like that. Now let's just pretend this is the underneath for now. So the fan will go something like that, okay? Now, that means the furthest you can have this sticking in to your barbecue is that much, which isn't that much, okay? So, you do have the option, we are cutting there, and we can't cut any further this way because we need this hole here. Okay, you could probably make that a little bit shorter if you wanted to, the feed hole. But what you can do is, if you imagine this in the middle here, and we draw a line, so that's in the middle. I'm just showing you roughly so you get the idea. Okay, so we've got a line here. So what you can do is you can decide that you're going to cut down here and not go all the way down, right? Because what you're going to do is you're going to cut down there, then you're going to cut along there, back here, and then down. So what you're doing is you're going to be mounting the fan in this section back here. So it gives you a larger area to push into your barbecue. For me it doesn't matter, because the way I'm mounting this is this bit, only this bit's going to be in the bottom half of the barbecue. However, this could be quite important for you, because if you put it here, it's going to only stick in your barbecue that much. If that doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But for those guys with larger barbecues, it could matter quite a lot. So you should consider doing that option. So that is quite an important option for you if you want to take it. Anyway, I'm going to get on now. Right, now I've measured this up and I've made sure that this line that I've drawn round goes all the way round very neatly. Now, when you're cutting something like this, it's important to try and, because this blade, although it looks very thin, and you think, oh, it doesn't matter too much, it's important to try and follow this line exactly, because otherwise when you get round to the other side it's not going to meet up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the angle grinder lightly the whole length. Don't just try to dig in and then slowly cut. Do your mark. Okay, as you saw there, I put my elbow down on there, that on there, so as type of triangulated, which gives you much better control over what you're doing. It's still not as straight as I'd like it though. The other thing is, you go up, don't be tempted to just pull it back. You'll find you'll go somewhere else. Okay, well I've cut that, but I've left a tiny bit in the middle-ish. So when I go round, it doesn't suddenly pinch. Left a little bit there. Never drop your angle grinder, because those blades are very thin. And if it fractures when you drop it, when you start it up, a piece could fly off. Right, once I got to there, I knew that if I cut just a couple of these bits, the rest would just snap off. But it held it long enough for me to get down there without it causing undue binding. Right, well that's all for today. I'll catch you tomorrow.